Son Luke suffered an accident on July 28, 2015. He was at a friend's house, and we did not know that this family owned a golf cart. And I received a phone call at 2 o'clock that afternoon that Luke had broken his nose. We found out a few minutes later at the hospital that Luke had suffered head and chest trauma. The golf cart had landed on top of Luke. Luke had about 8 to 10 surgeries. We didn't know until day 8 that there was any brain activity. Luke spent 44 days in Lubbock at UMC and then was transferred to Cook Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, where Luke spent 4 months. On September 15th, just 5 days after we arrived, we were in a room, a little conference room, and we were with therapists and nurses and the doctor. And the neurologist was the last person to speak, and he opened up his iPad and he said, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but based on Luke's MRI, he will never use his limbs, never open his eyes, and never make a sound." You can imagine what my wife and I were thinking at that time, but I was convinced that Luke would do more than they had suggested. The Friday before Thanksgiving, Luke started to make some sounds, but ultimately not enough for Luke to improve and to continue rehabbing at Cook Children's Hospital. So on January 6, 2015, just 5 months after the accident, we came home. We did a lot of therapy those first 8 to 9 months that we were home, PT, OT, and speech. I felt like the family was doing okay. Luke was doing okay. I was the one that was struggling the most. In August of that year, so 13 months after the accident, I was asked to speak at my girls' school. I have 3 girls, and they were in middle school at the time. And I had decided that I wanted to share a message that would impact the audience, but also what I was dealing with, what I was affecting. And I wanted to make sure that every single person I spoke to understood my message and that it would probably affect or impact all 5 of the things. And I came up with 5 inspirations from Luke. Number 1 is simply to find your passion. All of us as caregivers, we need to have our passion, of course, to have the energy every day to help our child. I talk about passion because I had lost most of my passion. I had lost almost my will to live, but ultimately starting the Team Luke Hope for Minds nonprofit has given me my passion back. I've learned so much that helping others is certainly helping me survive. And I think knowing that has also helped me with my family, certainly with Luke as well. The second is to don't ever quit. Every day I wake up next to Luke, which is 4 or 5 nights a week. I look to my right and Luke is right there, and I know that Luke never quits, and so I will never quit. Although we're tired, sometimes sleep is something that I don't get very often. I know how important it is, and the idea of never quitting applies to all of us all the time. The third one is to lean on friends, family, siblings, counselors, and I think this is important for all caregivers to not to keep things inside. I did that for a long time, and it didn't help me. I know now that I need people to talk to. I go through moments, I go through days, sometimes go through weeks of struggles, and I know that when I share things with others, that I think it helps me as well. The fourth one maybe doesn't apply as much to us, to this group, and that is simply to make good choices, be careful. And the fifth is to have faith. Without my faith, I don't think that I could be able to do what I'm doing, not only with Team Luke Hope for Minds, but also when I get in front of and speaking with others. A couple of quick stories that I think would apply to all of you that I think really is important. God Things. I wrote a book called It's in God's Hands, and one of the chapters is called God Things. 2 quick stories. When I was down and out, really struggling, I was driving around town, and if there had been a cliff, I'm not sure if I would have driven off that cliff. But I was driving around and all around for about 30 minutes, and I ended up at a place called Market Street, which is a grocery store near where the accident was. And I avoided that store for months. And anytime I had to go down that street, Quaker Avenue, I would turn my head so that I didn't have to look towards where the accident was. That day I ended up there, and I parked far from everybody else, and I had my head down, and all of a sudden I hear a knock on my window. I look up, and a gentleman says to me, "Hey, I'm praying for you, 1 foot in front of the other." And he walked away. 1 foot in front of the other has now become my motto. It's in some ways, it's who I am and what I'm doing every single day. It is a cliche, but it is profound to put one foot in front of the other is all that we can do. I pray that one day Luke will be able to put one foot in front of the other. And although at times I feel paralyzed that I'm not able to put one foot in front of the other, it's something that I think about every day. The other quick story is I was at a basketball gym sitting with Luke as I am right now. And I've never had someone walk right past us without at least acknowledging us, giving us a simple hello or a sympathetic look, or occasionally someone will ask, what happened to your son? Or can I pray for your son? In this situation, this woman walked right past us with her head down. As she got past me about 5 feet, she turned and said, "You were chosen for this." And she walked away. I wrote about that in my Facebook page, which is called Pray for Luke Siegel. And maybe in some ways I was chosen for this. My days as a tennis coach, my days as a professional tennis player, ultimately has gotten me to where I am today, to be able to handle what I'm doing every single day. Maybe, just maybe, I was chosen for this. I've learned over the last 5 years that Luke has made an incredible impact on so many people all over the country, specifically here in Lubbock. I have walked 2 to 4 miles every single day with Luke. And many times when I'm walking, I'll have someone stop me and say, "Hey, I want you to know that you've changed my life." I've had a father say to me that the way I am with Luke has changed the way he is with his son. So those stories, when I hear those stories that Luke has made such an impact, that comforts me, that helps me. The other word that I think about a lot is inspire. Luke has inspired so many people. I've had little boys come up to me and say that they are praying for Luke. They never used to pray. Now they pray for Luke. I wear this Team Luke Hope for Minds wristband because it reminds me how much I need to pray, not only for Luke, but for others that we're helping all over the country. Hope is another word. I used to hope and pray that Luke would get better, certainly. But I also used to hope and pray that our New Orleans Saints or the Texas Rangers or the Texas Tech Red Raiders would win games. That's insignificant now. Now I hope and pray that Luke gets better. I hope and pray that I'm able to make an impact on so many others. I want to tell you that there are people out in this country that have also inspired Luke. Luke and I are huge New Orleans Saints fans, and Drew Brees wrote the foreword to my book. And Drew Brees, the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, has done so much for us and supported us in so many ways. We're so appreciative for that. December 20th, the New Orleans Saints host the Kansas City Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes, who was the quarterback at Texas Tech, has meant so much to us as well, has worn Team Luke Hope for Minds on his cleats. And that particular day, ESPN will air our story, Team Luke Hope for Minds, and the story about Luke. Elvis Andrews of the Texas Rangers has donated money for us this year and is also a very big supporter. Ed Sheeran, Luke's favorite musician, when we were backstage in Dallas a couple of years ago, he wore Luke's wristband during the concert. So Luke has inspired a lot of other people. Other people have inspired Luke as well. And I know this, and this is very important, that Luke is making a difference in a lot of people's lives. And I need to make sure I never lose sight of that. I'm grateful for Luke's improvement. I have so much gratitude for those that have prayed for Luke, because I believe Luke is improving because of 2 reasons. Number one, he's a fighter. He always was. He was a tremendous little athlete, but he learned early on that practice is what makes him a better ball player. Well, Luke's drive, his competitiveness, his determination is what separates him from so many others. The second thing is people like you that pray for Luke, I think makes a tremendous difference. And I've learned a lot over the last 5 years, both being an executive director of a nonprofit that supports children after brain injury, but also being a father of a child who suffered a brain injury. And that is that Luke gets better because of love. That I'm with Luke all the time, that he's got tremendous nurses and therapists who love Luke. Luke knows, he understands. He moves his tongue when I ask him questions. He can make sounds. There's no question in my mind that Luke is improving, but Luke understands. That's incredible to me. And I will never lose sight of that. The other thing that I think is so telling is that in order for a child to improve, he can't or she can't just lay in bed or be in his chair or her chair. That Luke needs to be upright, that Luke needs to get up. So I push Luke as the coach, a former coach. I'm still coaching. I don't coach Texas Tech anymore, but I coach another team. That's Team Luke Hope for Minds. But with Luke, I make sure that he gets better by doing therapies every day and working hard. And I know that's important. The third thing is I think it's important to have both parents involved as much as possible. I know it's difficult with some of you that are working, but I also know that I am with Luke as much as I can because I feel like I know Luke better than anybody else. And so my message to all of you is one simple thing: don't lose hope. Never give up hope that your child will get better. We've all heard the same thing from doctors, that Luke was not going to get better, or some of you have told me that even your doctors suggested to possibly pull the plug. As bad as it was, your child will get better. I have heard from families that their child has improved 5, 6, 7 years later. We are 5 years and a couple of months out from Luke's accident, July 28, 2015. I will never give up hope that Luke will improve, and I hope that you all do the same. Thank you.